Good morning, friends and family. How are you today? Uh, can't wait to share with you episode 2. I'm Kumar, and this is Sports at Camstone. So this is the second day of the podcast, content creation. Still trying to get the sea legs under me. Not as easy as it is to wake up early, uh, as I was thinking. So glad I made it though, and excited to share with you today's lineup. Today we have a little bit of NBA, football, baseball, and a couple other sports that I not necessarily watch, but want to start watching. So I have a little update on them. So I'm excited. This is a good process coming up, and can't wait to share it with everyone. So let me get right into it. Let me let you know what happened in the NBA yesterday. So on Sunday we had 6 games happening in NBA. First we had the Magic. They beat the Kings 132-116. So this is a big win for the Magic. They were in the 8 seed before. Obviously, 8 seed this year has to play the 9 seed for a play-in game. If the 8 seed wins, they advance. If the 9 seed wins, then they have to play the 8 seed again, and winner of that game goes to the playoffs. So the Magic are trying to get out of the 8 seed and move up to the 7 seed. So this is a big win for them. So they moved into the 7th seed with the win. Unfortunately, they also lost Jonathan Isaac with a torn ACL. He did a nice jump cut, but it looked like his knee was already kind of weak when he started his drive, and unfortunately, he tore his ACL, and it looks like he's going to be out for the season. Another big game that happened playoff-wise was the Spurs beat the Grizzlies 108-106. Spurs, with this win, move into the 9 seed. So, like I mentioned, 9 seed face the 8 seed as long as they're 4 games out. So this is going to be important games going forward with pretty much all the Western Conference teams. So keep an eye out. Another big game was the Celtics beat the Trailblazers 128-124. One thing I noticed is that Nurkic had 30 for the Trailblazers. He's coming off a big leg injury last year that kept him out most of the season, and I believe the playoffs as well. And last year they made it to Western Conference Finals, so he's definitely a person to look out for. Celtics, they had some big help from their players. Tatum had 34, and Brown had 30. So these two young guys are, getting into their stride. Don't forget, in Tatum's rookie year and Brown's second year, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, a Game 7 against LeBron James. So they definitely have the playoff experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what they have this year. Now they have Kemba, so it's going to be good. Another game, Nets beat the Wizards. Nothing too crazy here, but LeVert had 34. And I remember before this whole bubble start that, obviously all the Nets were opting out, or because a lot of them actually contracted coronavirus. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but a lot of them were opting out. And LeVert was one of those people. He might be a standout. So he had 34 yesterday with the Nets win. They're in the 8 seed right now, so keep an eye out for him. Another game, Suns beat the Mavericks 117-115. Luka had 40 points in this game. I watched the highlights of this one. They had a chance to tie late. It didn't drop for them, but Luka had 40, Booker had 30. It was a close game. Luka's a freak. So I can't wait to see Luka in the playoffs. KP's looking great. He scored 30 last night. Their team is good. really like their team. Seth Curry's there, so a lot of upside for the Mavericks. I would say the game of the day yesterday was the Rockets versus the Bucks. The Rockets actually beat the Bucks 120 to 116. So I watched the highlights of this one. It was a close game. It was a close game throughout. Bucks were actually winning most of the game, and then 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, just start to unravel. A couple of costly turnovers. I don't know. I don't know if it's just it was a one game thing, but I've seen the Bucks crumble before. I've seen Kawhi dominate the Bucks. So who knows what's gonna happen in the playoffs? Uh, the Bucks were up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Can they avoid that crash this year? Westbrook clinched it up at the end of regulation. It was a great game. Rockets look really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Rockets in the Western Conference. Everyone's just been talking about the Clippers and Lakers, but the Rockets are really good. Uh, they've run a smaller lineup, so they have a lot of shooting. So we'll see how that produces against, let's say, if they have to face like a death lineup of Denver. How will that matchup go? What I did watch last night was the Yankees versus Red Sox. I haven't watched a full baseball game. I didn't even watch a full one. I watched it from the fourth inning. It's been a while, probably since I went to a game, went to A's Yankees game last year. That's probably uh, the most baseball I've watched since then. But it was a good game. Obviously, Yankees versus Red Sox, the most historic rivalry in sports, and it it honestly lived up to expectation. I forgot how frustrating baseball is. I was getting mad. It's one of those sports where you get mad, but then next inning you're just so happy, and then again mad. It's an up and down sport. It's not really meant for everyone, but if you're a true fan, you're able to stick through it and kind of finish out the game. This game was awesome though. Yankees won, but without some hurdles. So when I started watching the game, it was already 5-5, and I missed a huge 3-run home run from Judge, uh, and also a home run from Bogarts. Bogarts ended up finishing the day with 4 hits. He had 2 home runs and a double. And then what sealed it up was Judge hit 2 home runs. This is his 5th game in a row with a home run. He has 6 home runs in 5 games. And in the bottom of the 8th, he hit this monster 2-run home run to put the Yankees up 9-7. And they sealed it up in the top of the 9th. But what a hit. What a Judge is the truth. Uh, I did leave the game hating the Yankees lineup though. I felt like they had a lot more potential. Let's say if they put Giancarlo in the third slot. I know they're trying to space out and get a couple more runners on base, but Torres isn't the same quality as Stanton. Might as well lock up the runs. Let's say LeMahieu and Judge get on base. Might as well clean it up and get Stanton in there. Your lineup's so great. You can put someone in the fourth spot, but lock in those first 2 runs at least. I've seen already a couple games where Judge has been left on base, and you have the hitter to clean that up. So just I'm not a coach, but I would prefer Stanton batting third. Another weird thing was it was good. A-Rod was having fun, but he said cement mixer at least like 15 times. I have no clue what that means in relation to baseball. Like, what is throwing a cement mixer? What is seeing a cement mixer? I have no clue what that means. But great TV, I guess. So in other baseball news, yesterday was the first day that they did seventh inning double headers. Uh, I don't know why. It's not the same 27 up, 27 down, but I like it. You know, this is one way to shorten up games, and especially in this season where you kind of have to fit games in, probably make up games when they're postponed. I think this makes it a little bit more feasible to do these double headers for the players and honestly for the fans too. Like just get two games in, same excitement. In one of the games, Trevor Bauer actually pitched a shutout, 7 inning shutout, 7 strikeouts. He did great. So Reds swept. I don't remember stat, but this was the first time a road team swept a day night doubleheader since like the 70s. So big deal. Uh, Obviously, there's no crowd to like influence the road teams, but still, congrats to the Reds for completing the sweep on the first ever seventh inning doubleheader. I like it. I wouldn't mind seeing that in the future as well. Kershaw, he had a really great outing. He went scoreless through 5 2/3. Standard Kershaw. I'm looking forward to when he gets into his stride. In the Angels game, sad news. So I mentioned yesterday Shohei was pitching on Sunday, but unfortunately he only went 1 1/3, and he left the game feeling discomfort again. And they're gonna get an MRI on him. So it's not looking good on the Shohei front, and it sucks because this is the first pitcher I've liked probably in like 5 years. Called him the second coming of Babe Ruth, and now as soon as I said that, he gets hurt. Um, I'm hoping he gets better. I think as I mentioned, it coming off Tommy John, so it's coming off Tommy John, so he's got to get through it and just get his recovery up. It's unfortunate though. I wish him a speedy recovery. And kind of like the worst part was the Astros ended up winning that game. It was they won 6-5 in extra innings, and not only did probably my favorite pitcher go down, but the Astros won. On the COVID-19 front in Major League Baseball, things are looking up. The Marlins and Orioles will begin their series on Tuesday. So the Marlins had like all of their team get COVID, but they're good now. None of their players tested positive, so they're all better now, and they're starting on Tuesday. The Phillies are actually starting their series with the Yankees today. So the Phillies face the Marlins. So the Phillies series with the Yankees got postponed. So now they're making up the game. They're doing like 2 games in New York and 2 games in Philly to make up the series. It's going to be a 4-game series. So it's going to be fun. Also, in other COVID news, there was a surprise opt-out yesterday. Yoenis Cespedes. If you guys haven't heard of it, this is a quote from Jeff Passan. When Yoenis Cespedes didn't show up today, the Mets sent security to his room. They found it empty. He had taken his belongings just up and left, and through his agent informed the team mid-game that he was opting out. And that's according to the Mets GM Brodie Van Wagenen. So let's see what's next in that in that story. But yeah, I mean that's a pretty epic walkout. That reminds me of that Bills player Vontae Davis, who kind of left mid game. But this one, like, what happened? Like maybe he's already having a bad year. I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully everything's all right because I feel like he was doing good. I know he's coming off like an injury plagued season in the past couple years, so it's unfortunate. So also, uh, like I'm scared to even talk about football, but I want to get a couple of football segments in. I'm a huge football fan. Uh, might be driven by fantasy football and daily fantasy, but huge football fan. And I don't want to talk about it too much to jinx it because the season's still probably a month away. But hopefully everything works out. Uh, couple couple things coming out of training camp. A couple people have tested positive. Pretty much, I get all this news from Adam Schefter's Twitter. Uh, if obviously, if you don't ever want to listen to me and you want the same football news, just go on Adam Schefter's Twitter. He needs to like get people to pay for his Twitter because he's one of those you know tweeters that it's like sacred knowledge. Adam Schefter reports, but uh, one of the things he reported yesterday was from the Jags. So there's this COVID list, and there's a lot of names piling up, and uh, the Jags put Gardner Minshew on the list, and this makes no sense to me. Didn't they just trade Nick Foles, and he was the god? He was the guy, the god of the Jags. You know what? I don't get that. They also put a couple other people on the list, but I don't even know who they are. But they're clearly tanking for Trevor. Uh, they might not even win a game next year. I don't know. Like that, it makes no sense. Maybe they should get Kaepernick. He'd be a good fit. Running quarterback. They got Fournette back there. That'd be cool. The Patriots have a few more people that are leaving for the season. Makes I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it. Uh, is this a plan by Bill? Is Bill planning all of these people leaving? How I don't get how the season makes sense for the Patriots right now. There's a lot of stuff happening. They're losing a lot of players. They have brand new quarterback. I don't know. They put some new on the PUP list, and they put Sony Michelle on there. So they already lost most of their defense. It's gonna be interesting. And for those who didn't know, Stafford also went on the COVID list. So the Lions ended up drafting a cornerback this year. They had a chance at a quarterback, but they chose corner, thinking Stafford would come back from his back injury. So they're running into another season where not a lot of certainty. I feel bad for Matt Patricia. He's a good coach, trying to build a culture, but can't change the Lions' fate. New owner, so they're probably they're honestly they're in the tank chase too for Trevor. We also found out that AB is getting suspended for 8 games. So obviously Antonio Brown doesn't have a team, but one of the major hurdles for him was he didn't no team knew how long would he actually be suspended for when he came back. So now that he's suspended 8 games, now it gives the risk for any major team to say, okay, if I sign you, you're obviously a great receiver and you're going to ask for a lot of money, but you're going to be out 8 games. So it just gives them leverage and like just contract negotiations and also just kind of feeling out the team because 8 games is half the season. But you would be able to go to training camp, so that's important. So I don't know. Maybe the Ravens, maybe the Patriots again. The Patriots seem like they don't have any receivers. What about the Packers? The Packers lost their savior of punches, and we all know that Devontae Adams is probably going to get triple teamed this year. So I don't know. Why not? Why not the Packers? Their only receiver might be Jordan Love, right? The athletic quarterback. So I really feel like he'll be on a team for sure. He's good enough. I unfortunately drafted him last year in fantasy and pretty much all my leagues because I was like, oh, AB, he's a steal. He used to be the number one overall pick, and now I got him in the second round. Yes, and then after first game, you know, all those stories came out. So not yes. I'm looking forward to like talking more football. I'll definitely as soon as my drafts start happening for fantasy, I'll start talking about it a little bit more. And I was also thinking like how many how many players are there going to be like random highlight players now because of this whole COVID season? So many people are opting out. So many people are, uh, you know, being put on this COVID list. So this might be that replacement season where there's so many no names. So it's going to be a tough fantasy football year. It's not going to be your standard. Here are your top guys. When you get to the bottom, it's going to be a bunch of random people. So other sports I was talking to you about were golf and hockey. Uh, so in golf, Justin Thomas won the St. Jude Invitational. He won a clean $1.8 million. Golf pays. I didn't realize that. Obviously, this was like an event, not like a Masters or any of their majors, but yeah, it's good money. But the main reason why I want to bring up golf was I heard that Justin Thomas, by winning, he moves himself back into the number one spot over John Rahm. Might have messed up that name, but Rahm was number one before, and Justin Thomas won the tournament and got is now in first. So I'm gonna try and just keep up with golf a little bit more. I personally I want to start golfing. I haven't golfed too much in my life. One time I joined a golf league in Texas, and it was bad. I didn't know what I was doing, so I want to get back into it and continue to still not know what I'm doing. The other one is hockey. So apparently we're in the playoffs, and I did not know that. And now there's even more teams in the playoffs. So playoffs are playoffs, though. I'm gonna try and start learning hockey. I obviously know the rules, but I don't think I've watched a game since I've been to a game. Uh, the last game I went to was like Sharks Capitals game in San Jose, so that was pretty fun. But other than that, like I don't really know hockey that well. I don't know how many teams are in the playoffs, but one of my friends was like, I wouldn't mind listening to someone who knew about hockey. So I could be that guy. I'm going to just start learning. I heard playoff hockey is some of the best hockey that you'll see, but I need to learn it, and I'm looking forward to the growth that uh, I'll see in myself talking about hockey. So now let's go into what's happening today. There's 6 NBA games. One big game is the Pelicans versus Grizzlies. So this is an important game. Obviously, the Grizzlies are still in the 8th seed. If the Pelicans beat them today, they'll be one game closer to the 9th seed. So I think this is just a really important game. It'll also show if the Pelicans are actually going to be trying this season. They're lost past two, obviously tough teams, but if they want to get into the playoffs, if Zion is getting into the next round of this bubble, they really need to get a win this game. It'll slow down the Memphis Grizzlies from moving up in their 8th seed, and the Pelicans are on life, on their last life right now. So I think with 6 games left, Pelicans have a chance. Just get in a groove. Use Zion. Lonzo Ball needs to step it up. He only had 7 points last game. Obviously, Brandon Ingram, the All Star. So I think Pelicans they're gonna come back this game, but we'll find out. I think the game was at like 4 o'clock Eastern, so tune in. No, 7:30 Eastern. It was at 3:30 Pacific. Later tonight, the Lakers are also facing the Jazz. Uh, and this was one of those wacky 9 9 p.m. Eastern games. So it'll be cool for me because it's at 6. But I feel so bad for those players. I mean, I'd be interested to know how they feel like at 9 p.m. when they have to do like strenuous activity. I know I wouldn't be able to do that well. Like, oh, it's 10:30. I'm kind of tired, but I actually have to play in the fourth quarter as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that game looks. Obviously, we're in the middle of the season too, so there's a lot of baseball going on. Only games I found interesting: Yankees and Phillies. Good matchup. Garrett Cole's facing Jake Arrieta, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Um, for the Mets, we have Jake DeGrom pitching, and also this weekend we have another UFC fight card. So obviously, there's always abundance of UFC now. So one of the things I like doing is just going through the whole card and giving a little bit of what Vegas says on the underdogs and the favorites. So I'll be doing like a whole fight card. I want to get closer to it because they've been having a lot of dropouts recently, and who knows, maybe some news comes out about other fights, and I could just loop that in as well. But yeah, just to wrap it up. So obviously we talked about a lot today: NBA, baseball, football. Talked a little golf. Talked about how I want to learn hockey. It's it's day 2. This is gonna get better. I'm looking forward to constantly giving good news, and if you have any feedback for me, just let me know. Obviously, I wanna I wanna share everything I know that I prepared, but also anything that my fans and my friends and my family want to see as well. This is a journey for all of us. So, thank you again, and see you tomorrow.